I'm Caitlin from SOA. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I have Robyn, as you've all met, probably before with me, and she's going to be talking about healthy habits and personal hygiene during COVID-19. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or raise your hand, and I will unmute you, and we'll just answer those questions as we go. I'll get Robyn to introduce herself, and then we'll get going.
Perfect. Thank you, Caitlin. Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. I'm so happy you were able to join this evening. So I'll reintroduce myself in case you guys were not at my previous seminar 3 weeks ago. So my name is Robyn and I am a PhD candidate in the Faculty of Kinesiology at the University of Calgary. My research extends across multiple fields, but I'm very much interested in nutrition and dietary supplement use among different clinical populations. And so 3 weeks ago, if you were here, I talked about a lot of nutrition things, but today we're not going to talk about too much about that. Tonight's seminar topic is healthy habits and COVID-19 hygiene. So very relevant topics for our crazy times that we're currently living through. So like Caitlin said, if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat or like raise your hand on the Zoom. And I think Caitlin's going to help moderate those questions. I can't totally see all of you right now. So if you have a question, Caitlin will make sure that it gets asked. Also, if it looks like I'm looking in a different direction, it's because I have 2 computers. So I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm just making sure I'm hitting all my notes. So I think with that, we will get started. Oh, 2 more things. Number one, I want to say that I am not a healthcare professional. I'm not a doctor. So if I can't answer a question for you, I really encourage you to ask your doctor or another healthcare professional. They will probably be able to better answer your questions than I can. And the second piece is a lot of these healthy habits you guys are going to know already. And I'm not here to lecture you. It's more of a conversation piece. So I'm going to be learning a lot from you guys, just like you might be picking up a couple of tips or tricks from me tonight. So definitely, I don't want to make you guys feel that I'm just, hurling information at you. I want this to be fun for you guys as well. Okay, so tonight's overview, we have 4 kind of topics. The first one, health and wellness, we're going to define them and actually talk about what they mean. The second piece is going to be looking at specific healthy habits that we can implement into our routines to increase our health and our wellness. The third topic is going to be looking at personal hygiene during COVID-19. I know we're all at home and we're not really leaving the house too much, so we can get a little bit lazy, and I know I have. So it's a good reminder to, keep our personal hygiene up. And lastly, I'm just going to provide you guys with a couple of resources you can go to if you have more questions or you want more information. Okay, so health. What is health? It kind of sounds like a big, scary, confusing word that people seem to have a lot of definitions for, but it means so many different things to different people. So I actually went to an old textbook of mine from probably 5 or 6 years ago when I took a health class in university, and I looked at the definition. And from this specific textbook, they defined health as the overall condition of body and or mind and the presence or absence of illness and or injury. And this is, of course, not the only definition of health. This is just how this one textbook defined it. And I think there's a lot more to it than just the presence or absence of illness and injury. I think there's a whole lot more to it. To me, this definition is more geared towards physical health, and I think there's a lot more to health than that. So I dove a little deeper and I came up with what they call the determinants of health. And there are 12 determinants of health that make up your overall health. So of course, it's not just physical health. So the first one is income and social status. So this is going to be things like how much money you're making at your job. Do you have a job? You have job security. And based on those first questions, your social status is going to determine where you are in the hierarchy of society and how you relate to other individuals in that category. The second piece is education and literacy. So how much education or schooling you have, and literacy, of course, the ability to read. Number three, social environment. So these are going to be things like where you are, who you're engaging with, your friends, your family, your social environments outside of the home. Probably not too much going on right now, but as athletes, you guys, that would include your social environments, your teammates, your coaches, the camaraderie you guys have together when you are playing. The fourth one, personal health practices and coping skills. This is actually pretty much bang on with what we're going to be talking about today. So personal health practices, we'll get into that a bit more deeper later on. Coping skills is how you're going to be able to cope when things become stressful or hard or challenges, how you adapt, how you cope and get through those situations in a positive way. 5, biology and genetic endowment. Unfortunately, we can't really control our genetics, our DNA. If we could, I definitely would be a lot taller than I am. But you have to make the best of what you are dealt, essentially. Gender, of course, you're born female or male, but now there are different types of gender identities. So how you identify yourself is going to be part of your overall health. Number 7, social support networks. So again, these some of them go hand in hand. So the social support kind of goes with coping skills. It kind of goes with social environments. So it's just making sure that you have individuals in your life that are supportive of you and they're advocating for you. They're on your side and you can go to them judgment-free for help if you need. 8, employment and working conditions. Of course, people want to have a job, but it's also the conditions at that job. Is it safe? Do you feel safe? Are you harassed? You want to feel safe when you go to work, and it needs to be, a healthy and appropriate working condition. Number 9, physical environment. So where you are. Right now, we're probably in our homes. That's a physical environment. Outside is a physical environment. If you're traveling, that's a new physical environment. So it's just where you are. 10, healthy child development. Of course, we're probably all past that right now, but when we're children, we need to make sure that we are properly nourished. We have loving support from our families. We're able to explore and develop our skills, our motor skills, our intellectual skills, etc. 11, health services. So we're really fortunate to live in Canada. We have free healthcare. We have a lot of resources that we can go to and take advantage of very, very quickly if we need to. Number 12, culture. Belonging to something bigger than ourselves, how we identify as a person. So then I thought, okay, health, what goes with health? Well, I think wellness goes with health. And again, I didn't know the true definition. So I looked it up in this textbook and they define wellness as the optimal health and vitality. So it sounds like wellness is another component that kind of goes hand in hand with health itself. So wellness is essentially living life to its fullest. And just like health, there are different components of wellness. So the textbook called these components dimensions, and there are 6. So the first one is physical health. So that's, of course, things like our bodies. We want to make sure that they are functioning properly. When we're sick or we have an injury, of course, that's going to hinder our physical health. So we want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves. Emotional health is our ability to monitor our feelings and our emotions and express them in a healthy way. If we're angry or sad, we don't want to keep those feelings bottled up. We want to be able to express them in a healthy way and get help when we need. And of course, on the flip side, when we're super happy or excited and joyful, it's very easy to show. So you want to make sure that most of the time we're, of course, on the happier end. Number 3, intellectual, is our abilities to solve problems and think critically and think about challenges and resolutions to those challenges. I'm just scrolling through my notes. So interpersonal is our ability to create and maintain loving and supportive relationships with other people. So of course, that could be with our parents, it could be with our siblings, it could be with our extended family or our friends, our teachers, coaches, teammates, the list goes on. But we want to make sure that we're reciprocated in those relationships. We give love and trust and support and respect, but we're also receiving it back. We don't want to be in a toxic relationship. Number 5, spiritual. A lot of people think this is just religion, but it goes beyond that. Of course, it includes religion, and it really encompasses feeling connected to something bigger than ourselves that kind of gives our life purpose, and that we feel like we're on a path directed to somewhere. But you can connect spiritually with things outside of religion. For example, we can connect with nature. If we go out for a walk, you can feel spiritually connected to nature. You can feel spiritually connected to art, and dance, things like that. And also, even things like meditation, you feel spiritually connected to yourself. And 6, environmental. So of course, that's going to be where we're living, our environmental conditions. So are they clean? Are they safe? If we're outside, we want to make sure that, we're living in a place that's not too polluted and things like that. So this kind of makes up wellness. And if we kind of tie wellness and health together, then we can really create a beautiful life, and that's really bringing us joy. So let's kind of go into what is a healthy habit. Well, we know that health is the overall condition of the body and or mind, with the presence or absence of illness and or injury. And then I looked at the definition of habit, and according to the Webster Dictionary, a habit is an acquired mode of behavior that has become nearly or completely involuntary. So something that we kind of do automatically. So if we put those two definitions together, we're going to get a healthy habit. And that is a routine behavior, method, practice, or ritual that one does regularly to enhance their overall health or a specific determinant of health. So things that we can do every day or every couple of days, or just in our kind of routine that enhances our overall health and our well-being. And it could be specifically for different dimensions or components of health or wellness. Okay, so let's get into a couple healthy habits. I apologize, these next few slides are very busy. There's a lot of words. I was trying to get it to transition, but for some reason my PowerPoint was not working. Anyway, so the first healthy habit is nutritional healthy habits. So I just put a couple that I thought would be really relevant and great. So the first one is eating 3 meals each day. So under that, we want to make sure that we're eating enough. I know I covered this a couple weeks ago, but we want to make sure we're eating enough to properly fuel our bodies and give us energy. But again, not eating too much that we're going to, put on, risk of gaining weight. So we want to make sure that we're eating to fuel our bodies. And you guys, especially athletes, we want to make sure that we're eating before, during, and after exercise. So we are prepared for exercise. We can continue to exercise properly and have great performance during prolonged exercise and after exercise to refuel our muscles and our glycogen stores, and that we're feeling really, really good. Number 2, I put eating fruits and vegetables. So of course you want to eat a variety. The more color on your plate, the better. I talked about micronutrients and non-nutrients. So these are the substances that are going to help our bodies flourish and do chemical reactions that we are able to that our bodies are able to function properly and do different things that it needs to be doing. So for example, we want to make sure that we have calcium so our bones can continue to restore and build properly, so we're not getting things like osteoporosis. And lastly, we want to make sure that we're getting between 5 and 8 servings of fruits and vegetables every day. More the better in this case. So lastly, drinking water. So I put 2 liters of a minimum every day. Of course, if we're exercising, we want to be bumping that up a little bit. When we're exercising, we're going to be sweating, and through sweat, we lose water. So definitely, if we're exercising, drinking water during exercise, and of course, afterwards.
Robyn, we just have a question in the chat from, Preston has his hand up. Just one second, Preston. Okay, you should be able to unmute yourself.
Eating some, it's like some fat, like you get fat in the steak. The steak has more fat. Is it okay to eat some of it, or it's okay to eat it if you eat a whole thing of fat of the steak. It's okay to eat that.
Yes. Yeah, it's okay as long as you're, eating in moderation and you're not eating that much fat every single day.
Okay, I just want to know that because it's sometimes some fat's okay and some fat good. Some fats are good fat and some are good bad fat, right?
Yeah, there's good and what we call bad fats. So the bad fats are things like
Junk food.
Sorry?
Junk food.
Exactly, junk food, saturated fats. We want to stay away, and trans fat. We want to kind of stay away from those, and lean towards more healthy natural fats. Things like avocado or oils or cheese or yogurt or kind of things like that. Yeah.
Oh,
but
all right, thank you.
Don't stay away from fat. We like fat. Fat is good. And the last tip I have under drinking water, if you think you're not getting enough and it's kind of boring, I agree, drinking water can be very boring. So what we can do is we can add flavoring to it to entice us to drink more. So some examples, you could put a squeeze of lemon juice or lime juice, or even diluted juice. I like to take orange juice, pour half a cup of orange juice and dilute that in about 1 liter of water. It makes it taste and it entices me to drink more.
Misty, do you have a question? Hold on, I just have to let you unmute yourself 1 second. I just have to find you. Okay.
What's the difference? What's a micronutrient?
Good question. So a micronutrient is they're very, very, very tiny substances in foods that they don't give us calories, but they help our bodies function properly and carry out processes that need to be done. So for example, there's vitamins and minerals are going to be our micronutrients. So vitamin A, B, C, D, E, K, things like that. And then the minerals are going to be things like calcium, iron, zinc, phosphorus, magnesium, selenium, different things like that. And they're just in food to help our bodies properly function.
I have one more question for you quickly, Robyn.
Yes.
Is it good or bad to eat an egg every day?
You know what? I love eggs. There's nothing wrong with eggs. They're a great source of protein. They're a great source of healthy fats, the yolk. There's no fat in the white of the egg. All the fat is in the yolk. Same with the micronutrients. So if you're just eating the egg whites, it's strictly just protein. I always say you want to include the whole egg because you want those healthy fats and micronutrients. So eggs are a really great source of protein. So yes, thumbs up to eggs.
Awesome, thanks.
And I know some people are very concerned about cholesterol in eggs, but it is very minimal. And if you're only eating 1 or 2 a day, you don't need to worry about that. Okay, let me see. I just figured out I can look at the chat. So if you have questions, I can see your questions now. Okay, so the next healthy habit we're going to look at, you guys, is movement. So we always know that saying, diet and exercise, diet and exercise. So movement is just as important as nutrition. And so the first one is exercise and physical activity. You guys are perfect. You're already athletes. So Canada guidelines suggest 150 minutes per week. And I divided that and it turns out to be approximately 22 minutes per day. So, and that can be any type of exercise you want, and it can actually even be broken down further. So if you don't want to do the full 22 minutes at one point, you can break it up into 2 10-minute chunks. So a 10-minute walk in the morning, a 10-minute walk in the afternoon. Perfect, you've already met your goal. Moreover, you want to aim for 10,000 steps per day. That's kind of what society says. Again, there's not a perfect number for this. The research is all over the place. There's no one perfect number that everybody has agreed upon. So 10,000 steps is kind of just a number they throw out there. But we want to probably get as many steps as we can. And of course, we want to do what we enjoy. We want exercise to be fun. If we have to move our bodies. We want to do it in a way that we really enjoy. If you don't like running, then don't run. If you don't like jumping rope, then don't jump rope. Do something that you enjoy and makes you look forward to moving your body. Okay, the second healthy habit I have here is take movement breaks. And so I'm sure a lot of us are sitting at the computer working, or we're watching TV. Well, we want to get up and move our bodies. So I said a healthy tip would be every 20 to 30 minutes, you want to get up and move your body, you know, go get a cup of water or stretch, or do like even 30 seconds of jumping jacks or something like that. We also, another tip I put is you can move your body during ads if you're watching TV or while you're fast forwarding. If you record and you're just skipping the ads, you know, get up and do some squats or walk around your couch or do something that moves your body just for the 1 minute that you're fast forwarding or during the commercial breaks. And something that people forget is our eyes. Our eyes can get very, very tired. So a tip that I put in here is we want to look 20 feet away for 20 seconds every 20 minutes. So if we're looking at the computer or the TV, every 20 minutes, we actually want to look away about 20 feet away for 20 seconds. And this just gives our eyes a little quick break from the blue light and the screen. And of course, we want to stretch. So I just put in a couple of different times of the day that you can stretch. You can stretch upon awakening in the morning. You, of course, want to stretch before and after exercise to avoid injury. And you can stretch before bed. I think stretching before bed for 2 or 3 minutes is really relaxing. And it kind of tells your muscles, okay, let's, you know, wind down and go to sleep. We also want to increase our flexibility and joint mobility. It's really, really important. You know, for lifting weights, we're exercising our muscles and our bones, but we also want to exercise our tendons and our ligaments. And that is how stretching works. And of course, when we're, you know, exercising, we're tightening our muscles. They're being very, very tight. And when we stretch them, they elongate again and become relaxed, and they're able to restore themselves better. Just checking the chat to make sure there's no questions. And of course, I put in here, we can try new stretches or new yoga poses. I know there's lots of YouTube videos out there, 5 minute, 10 minute, 1 hour, beginners, intermediate, advanced. So you can always just pop on a YouTube video and follow along. I think that's a really great way to get ideas on how to move our bodies. So I'm just looking at the chat here. You guys have awesome tips. I love it. And I wanted to ask you guys what your favorite health tips are. So I'm seeing some which are really great. So Jordan says, I was doing stretches, I was doing some splits. Wow, I wish I could do the splits. That's awesome. How about Wii Fitness? Yes, Wii Fitness is actually a really great way to move our bodies. If you're going to play video games, perfect. You're already moving your bodies. That's great. I used to play Wii Fitness a lot. I really like it. Weights, perfect, great. Dancing on the Wii, that sounds really, really fun. Dance to my CDs or the radio. Yeah, I love that. Any way you can move your body is really, really great. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the next one is sleep. Oh my goodness, sleep, sleep, sleep. So of course we want to get enough sleep. So I put 7 to 9 hours each night. Of course, that's going to depend on our own bodies and how our routine is. I typically, for whatever reason, if I go to bed, I typically sleep for about 7.5 hours every night. No matter what, if I can sleep in or not, I typically get up after 7.5. And it also depends on your competition or games. If you guys have a game the next day, you want to try and extend your sleep just a little bit to make sure that you're totally, totally ready and rested. So we also want to have a nighttime routine. And please continue to write in the chat if you have any tips for me or you want to share. So some ideas for creating a nighttime routine could be things like drinking a relaxing cup of tea, a light movement or stretching to kind of wind down our bodies, or read a good book. I often find myself reading before bed. It kind of makes me sleepy. We also want to try and go to bed at the same time every night. I know it can be difficult to do, but it does allow our bodies to get into a really regular routine. And so when a certain time hits, You know, if you go to bed at 10 o'clock, if 9:30 comes around, our bodies kind of automatically adjust and start kind of getting into a relaxation mode. So it's really a great way to establish a routine. I put what I call sleep aids. So these are just things that can kind of entice you or enhance your sleep quality. So things like an eye mask to block out light. You can put a leg cushion underneath your knees. If you're sleeping on your back or on your side, you can put a pillow between your legs. So it helps stabilize your spine a little bit more. You can do things like aromatherapy, a night light, white noise in the background, things like blackout curtains, again, to block out the light if light bothers you. Earplugs for noise, humidifier and air purifiers can also help a lot to get, relaxation and a better airflow and air quality. And I said no screen time 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Do I actually do this? Probably most days, no, I don't. I'm very bad. But it is something that I should try and incorporate more. When we look at our phones, the light that is reflecting back into our eyes actually stimulates our brain to keep awake, essentially. So it's important to try and kind of minimize the phone use or the TV use or the computer use 30 to 60 minutes before bed. So I'm just going to go through some of yours. Listen to music. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. Journaling, really great idea. Journaling, lots of journalers. That's really great. I love that idea. So, and of course, lastly, we want to have good sleep hygiene. Most of us don't really think about it in this regard, but really, really important. So we want to be wearing fresh, clean pajamas and wear pajamas that you like. What I mean by that is you want to be comfortable. If you don't like wearing short pajamas to bed, then wear pants. If you don't like wearing long sleeve shirts to bed, then wear a t-shirt, things like that. We want to wash our bedding each week and change our pillowcase every few days. This will help keep our skin clear and our hair from becoming dirty, from dust mites and things like that. We also want to be dusting our bed frame, if you have a bed frame, and night table every week, because dust can build up on those and then you're breathing that in. So we want to make sure it's clean, vacuuming underneath our beds, freshening up. If we have stuffed animals, you want to make sure that they are dust free. Same with our pillows and blankets, washing those, dusting them, etc. Because what's on your bed or beside your bed, that's what you're breathing in. And of course, every morning we want to make our bed. There's been studies done that say people who make their beds are more productive during the day. This is something I definitely do each day. I can't stand when my bed is not made. I just feel unput together almost. So it is a good habit to do each morning. I never wash my bedding. I think you should try and start. Even once every couple of weeks. I try to aim for once a week, but it is a good habit to do. It makes you feel good. You feel fresh and clean. Open your window for some fresh air. That's awesome. I love that idea. Yes, maybe not right now, but yeah, like you said, when temperature permits, that's a really great way to freshen up your air. Yes, I like getting into bed with clean sheets too. And so does my cat. She can always tell when I've washed my bedding. I sleep in the basement, it's cooler. That's a really great tip as well. There's been studies done that if you turn your thermostat down a couple of degrees to about 17 degrees, it can actually entice your sleep, because humans tend to sleep better in cooler climates than when we're overheated. White music, yes, love that. Any suggestions for someone that is allergic to dust and dust mites, like my younger brother? I would suggest looking into things like hypoallergenic sheets and blankets that can help reduce the amount of dust buildup. Of course, we want to be, like I said, washing our bed sheets, dusting our tables if we have a side table, things like that. Heated blanket, I love that. Have you guys tried a weighted blanket? Let me know in the chat. I've tried it. You have to get used to it, but it's something I think you either like or you don't like, but you can definitely, I got used to it. It's nice now. Air fresheners. Yeah, that's a great idea. Lavender is perfect. Lavender has properties that can actually entice your body and tells your brain in certain parts of your brain to relax. So it has a relaxing effect. You guys, lots of you have tried it. That's awesome. Perfect. Okay, let's move on. So next is personal healthy habits. So of course, number one, do not smoke. We don't want to smoke. And I put this includes things like cigarettes, cigars, shisha, basically any type of smoke. People say vaping, they try and say that, oh, vaping is not bad for you, but the reality is smoke is smoke, and any type of smoke going into your lungs is not good. So just kind of stay away from those things. Number two, self-care. So things like positive affirmations. We want to get our mental health strong and stable. So saying things out loud to yourself like, it's a beautiful day, you look awesome. If you're looking at the mirror, like today's going to be a good day. Things like that can really have a positive effect on our mental health. Having a skincare and hair care routine is really important as well. We want to make sure that we are cleansing our face, we're taking off makeup at night, we're allowing our skin to breathe, things like that. And of course, our hair too, we want to make sure it's not matted or dirty. So shampooing, conditioner, things like that every couple of days. It depends on how much oil your hair naturally produces. So it'll be different for everybody. And of course, I think having alone time every once in a while is really beneficial as well. Not right now, but typically, we live in a really crazy world that's overwhelming, and there's information coming at you all the time and a lot of stimuli. And I think, backing off and having some time alone to do whatever makes you feel good. If you're reading, if you're writing in a journal, if you're even watching some TV by yourself, I think having alone time can really boost our mental health. I don't know what those lines are on the screen. I'm so sorry. And number three, I put get dressed. Even if we're staying at home these days, it is good habit to continue to just get dressed as normal. I mean, I'm not talking like fancy suits or dresses or things like that, but even just changing into some comfy sweatpants, a t-shirt can really switch your mindset to make you feel more productive. Okay, let's go into the chat. I want to hear your personal healthy habits. Let me just scroll up here. Okay. Perfect. I'm happy to hear that your friends have quit smoking. That's really, really great. I'm not sure how long it takes for our lungs to revert to before smoking, but it's not as long as we used to think. We used to think that, it would take years and years and years, but it's a lot sooner. So if people smoke and they quit, our lungs or their lungs can go back to a healthy state sooner rather than later. Very hard to get dressed. I know it is very, very difficult. But like I said, just changing out of our pajamas to sweatpants, which are equally as comfortable, can really make a difference in how we feel. Take off false lashes. Yes, definitely take off makeup before bed. We want to make sure that our pores are unclogged and are able to breathe, and makeup can really damage our skin if we leave it on while we're sleeping. Stay healthy. Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, getting dressed, putting on makeup and perfume. I really like that tip. It just kind of, it makes you feel good about yourself and confident, more put together. And if it's your routine, I love that. Okay, hate smoking. Yes, good. Brushing our teeth, of course. That's awesome. 2 to 3 times a day. I do too. And of course, flossing. Not eat before bed. That's a good tip as well. Sometimes if we eat right before bed, our tummies can be digesting and might be a little bit uncomfortable. Drink smoothie, going at the same time. Yeah, having alone time from time to time, really great tip. Walk my dogs. I love that. That's an awesome tip, getting outside. Last week was awful to walk, walking outside, -30, oh, so cold. But it's really great to get out. Okay, I'm just scrolling through because you guys have so many awesome tips. Deodorant, yeah, of course. We don't want to smell a little stinky. Work out every day, awesome, I love it. Mouthwash, yeah. Having a hot bath, that's a wonderful tip. I really like that tip. Talking to my fiance every day. Perfect, brush my teeth. Okay, you guys have awesome, awesome tips. I unfortunately can't read them all. We don't have time, but I really do appreciate you guys writing your tips in the chat. You guys are really killing it.
Just a quick question for you, Robyn.
Yes, of course.
Jordan has her hand up, so Jordan, I'll unmute you.
Okay, I got a couple of questions. With the water, so I got this soda stream, and I'm just wondering if it's with carbonated water. I just wondering if it can damage your kidneys.
So no, the carbonation, it's not going to damage anything. Most people can tolerate carbonated water or carbonation in general. So things like pop, soda, things like that are all carbonated, but it's not going to damage anything internally. The only thing it might do is it might cause discomfort for some people. If it's, in their mouth, it might feel too foamy or like almost tingly. It could also feel like that in your throat when you swallow. So your esophagus, it also might cause bloating, because carbonation is essentially just air. So when you're drinking carbonated fluids, you're swallowing a lot more air than you normally would. And so that air is going to go into your tummy, and it's going to, of course, expand. So our tummy will then expand. So you might feel a little bit bloated, but it's not going to damage your kidneys.
Okay, good. My other question was, for after a workout, for like a recovery drink for like say chocolate milk, do we if we buy different chocolate syrup, because I have an ice cream chocolate syrup that I have at home. Does that works for making chocolate milk with it, or buy a jug of chocolate syrup?
So I think the chocolate syrup you have could work. I think you would just have to try it and stir it in and see if it tastes good. Chocolate milk, I think I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. It is a good post-workout recovery drink. There is a lot of sugar in it, but because it's after exercise, we're going to be, our glycogen, our sugar stores in our bodies are going to be really, really low. So it is a great way to quickly build up our sugar levels again. So it is a good drink. So I think to answer your question, I think you just have to pour a little bit of your syrup in there and stir it up and see if it tastes good. But I think it should work.
Okay. That's all the other questions I have.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jordan.
Yep.
And just one other quick one from Matthew, and then we'll move on to the next
Perfect.
slide. So
Is pop a healthy drink?
Pop. So I don't really like the word healthy. I would say it's less nutritious because there is a lot of sugar. So a lot of people think it's like an empty calorie. I don't like to say it's bad or unhealthy. I would just stick it to everything in moderation. I would suggest not drinking pop every day, maybe once a week type of thing, and spreading it out throughout the day. So instead of taking, a kind of Coke and chugging it, you want to be sipping it slowly over the course of an hour, let's say. So it's not the best for you. It's not going to provide you with any nutrition, but it's also not a bad thing every once in a while.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good question.
Thank you.
I see there's a few more questions. We'll just hold on to them at the end, and then Robyn can answer those questions.
Perfect. I just see one aligning with Matthew's question here. What about diet pop? It's kind of the same thing. There are no calories in it, but there's still artificial sweetener. And people tend to think, well, if there's no calories, so it's healthier. But the thing is, it's still sugar, and your body is going to react the same way to the artificial sweetener than it would to regular sugar. So it's basically the same thing, just without the calories. So in my opinion, if you're going to have pop, I would just have the regular pop rather than the artificial sweetener, because it's been processed even more. So I would stick to just regular, but everything in moderation. Okay, so I think we're going to keep going. Okay, so Our next one, our last one actually, is mental health. So my first tip is going what I call offline, and that is just taking a break from all of our technology and all of our screens. So taking a break and walking away from the TV, the computer, our phones, social media, all of those types of things. We just want to take a step back and take a break. Another tip we can do is turn off notifications. So things like if we get a Facebook notification, if we get another app notification, just going into those specific apps and turning all of the notifications off, it can really help make our phones, let's say, less distracting or overwhelming or things like that. Number 2, of course, go outside. Going outside and being in fresh air and nature, even if it's just a walk around the block, it really can boost our mental health. Seeing the sunshine, feeling the sunshine and the warmth on our face, things like that. And even just looking at the scenery. I love winter. Maybe I'm crazy that way, but I truly love winter. I think it's my favorite season. I love the snow and seeing it sparkling. So I really enjoy going outside and just looking at the snow and how it forms around different objects and how it freezes. I think it's really beautiful. Number 2, we can take advantage of the season. So right now it's winter, so we can adapt and do winter things like cross-country skiing or sledding. We can go downhill skiing. During the summer, we can do things like hiking, we can jog, we can bike, things like that. So really just adapting to the seasons and making sure that even though, it's snowing outside, we still get outside and get some fresh air. And the third one is I said aim for once per day, even if it's 5 minutes or even if you're just in your backyard. I think it's really important to get outside. The third tip I have is meditate or deep breathe. These are different things. So meditating is where you're sitting purposefully and you're really trying to clear your mind. And you're really kind of in a zone, almost like a zen. And deep breathing is really, you can do it anywhere at any time, and it really doesn't take that much effort, and you're just focusing strictly on your breathing, and it's typically not as long as meditation. So even things like breathing for 1 minute can really boost our minds and how we're feeling. So every once in a while, you can just literally sit back in your chair, open up your chest and your belly and breathe. And a strategy I put in here is what's called the 4-4-4 breathing. And so what that means is you're going to breathe in through your nose for 4 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to hold your breath for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're going to breathe out for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can repeat this as many times as you wish. And it's just a really great way to bring back your focus to the present and to your breath, and really kind of clearing your mind. And of course, number 4 is laugh. Laughing is the best medicine. It makes us feel good. When we laugh, we release hormones in our brains that literally make us feel better and happy. I'm going to just go to the chat now to look at any tips you guys have. Laughter is the best medicine. Yes, Missy, you are 100% correct. My Nike Apple Watch makes me breathe. That's really cool. I like that. It kind of reminds you to breathe a little bit. Keeps pumping my heart, makes my brain, yep, makes your brain think. Really great. Are we getting close to 8 o'clock? Caitlin, should I hold up the password in case people need to leave now?
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in case you guys need to head out, the password here is, I think it's backward. 6
Well, it's good. It's
swimmers.
good. Yeah. 6 swimmers.
6 swimmers. So if you are heading out now, thank you so much for joining me. I know we're getting close to time. I apologize. I like to talk more than I should. But the next part, the COVID part, will be really quick.
Okay, so if you have time, you can definitely stay on because Robyn still has more content to cover. If you do have to leave, that's okay. Awesome. And Lianka, while we're pausing here, I see you have a question. So I will just unmute you for 1 second. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
Is a multivitamin better than taking multiple vitamins one by one?
That's a really, really great question. And I think the answer to this is twofold. So number one, I think when we're taking dietary supplements, the most important thing is to make sure it's the right one for us. So of course, we want to go to our doctor and get their input onto what they think we need or what we don't need. And the second one, I think, is quality. So for example, different brands have different type of quality for vitamins and minerals. So some are better than others. And so to answer your question, is it better to take a multivitamin or separate? Again, I think it depends on what you need. So multivitamin can have up to, let's say, 15 or 20 different vitamins and minerals. And if you don't need a specific one, it might be better to just take the one separately that you need more than the others. Most vitamins and minerals, if we take more than we need, we typically just pee it out. So it would depend on exactly which ones you need, and of course the quality. So I would say definitely talk to your doctor and make sure that you know which exact ones you need to take.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Kaylin, the password again. Here we go. 6 swimmers.
And Robyn will show it at the end again, just in case anybody missed it.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to the second portion. I apologize, it's taking longer than normal, but I'll try and go through this rather quickly. Okay, so the first tip during COVID-19, of course, showering and bathing. Even though we're at home, we still want to make sure that we are cleansing our body. So how often should we do it? I put once per day or every second day if your skin is really sensitive. I know, it's so dry here in Calgary anyway. And, for showering, we're stripping the natural oils off of our skin so it can really dry out our skin more. So if we are more sensitive, definitely every second day. Misty, to save water. That's a really great idea. Good job. Thanks for being so eco-friendly. Of course, we want to shower after exercise or sweating. We don't want to keep that sweaty residue on our skin. We want to cleanse it and make sure that we're keeping our pores and our skin clean. And another tip, if we're feeling really cold, sometimes at night I feel really, really cold, especially in the winter. So I'll just hop in a hot shower for 5 minutes and it really helps warm me up. And the importance of showering and bathing is, of course, we want to clean our skin and our hair. We want to get the oils that our pores produce. It's called sebum. We want to get that off of our bodies, and the oils from our hair we want to, of course, cleanse away as well. It can also help ease our sore muscles. If we have an ache in our shoulders or our back, or we're after exercising, we're kind of sore, our muscles feel tight. Having a hot bath or shower is a really great way to help relax our muscles. And of course, that leads me into my last point. It can be really relaxing. So if we shower before bed, or if we have a bath and we put a bath bomb or some bath salts, it can really relax our bodies and our brains. So the second one is hand hygiene. So of course, you guys know that this includes hand washing and using hand sanitizer. And so when do we want to do this? Well, of course, we want to wash our hands after coming home. We're outside of the house, we're touching things. Our hands probably are carrying bacteria. So of course, we want to wash them as soon as we get home before we're touching things in our house. I would also suggest, having some sanitizer in our car. So if we're, in the mall or a store, we come back, we can quickly sanitize before we're touching the steering wheel or the door handles or our seatbelts and things like that. We want to also wash our hands when we're entering someone else's home. I think it's just common courtesy. And also we want to make sure that we're not spreading our germs to them and vice versa. So if someone comes into our home, it's polite for them to wash their hands as well. Sanitize hands after using public transportation. And once you're home after using public transport, we want to wash our hands. Before and after using the restroom, of course. And of course, you guys know this, after coughing, sneezing, using a Kleenex, touching or removing our masks, we want to wash our hands to make sure that those germs are not spreading. I also put in after cleaning. So if we're spraying down let's say our kitchen or whatever. We don't want the chemicals to sit on our hands, so washing them afterwards can be really helpful. And of course, before cooking and eating. I apologize, the last two are not really related to COVID, but I thought I'd throw them in there anyway. And of course, how long? Well, we all know 20 seconds. So I want to know in the chat, what song do you sing while you wash your hands? I will share my song with you. Please do not laugh at me. I have a terrible singing voice, but I made up a COVID song that I sing 2 times while I'm washing my hands. And it goes like this. Wash, wash, wash your hands many times a day. Sanitize and disinfect and stay 6 feet away. So that's my COVID song, and I sing it twice.
So good.
Okay, and lastly, the importance of washing our hands. Of course, we all know this. Kills potentially harmful bacteria and germs that we don't want on our hands, we don't want spreading. Another thing, keep lotion nearby. I have to put lotion on after every time I wash my hands. It just, my hands are so dry, they crack, it's awful. ABC, happy birthday. Great, I love it. Being part of my favorite song for 20 seconds. Oh, that's awesome, I love that. So it kind of changes every time. Perfect. Okay, we're getting close, you guys. Thanks for sticking with me. Coughing and blowing our noses. Of course, we want to not do this, you know, out loud to spread. So we want to ensure we're covering it with our arm or elbow or a tissue. If we're blowing our nose, of course, use a Kleenex and throw it away. Don't stash it in your pocket. Of course, those germs can spread, and wash our hands afterwards. Okay, so let's get into some mask use. So there are different types of masks, and they're not all the same. So the recommended types are non-medical disposable masks. I have one right here. So things like that. Medical grade masks, although citizens are typically told to stay away from those just because they are very, very high in demand for healthcare professionals who really need them as for frontline protection. Another type we can use reusable or cloth masks that are made with really tight woven fabrics, and they are double or triple layered. And a face shield is a really great addition to a mask. I wouldn't just use a face shield by itself. I think it's better over a mask as well. Okay, types to avoid. So we want to avoid masks that have exhalation valves or vents. I see quite a few people wearing these, and it seems like a good idea so that we can breathe better, but in fact, germs and bacteria can actually get into those little valves, which can they can go both ways. So we can pass our germs through them to other people into the air, and the air that we're breathing in, the bacteria can come in through the valves into our noses and our mouths. So we want to avoid those. Surgical masks, again, we want to avoid those because they are high in demand for people who are frontline. The N95s, those are things like the construction worker masks. They're not terrible, but they're just not the best. We also want to avoid reusable or cloth masks that are made with loose woven fabrics, or they're single layer. So want to avoid things like that. And of course, things like scarves, jacket necks, neck gaiters or buffs, they are not masks. I know a lot of people use them just as a last resort, and maybe they forgot a mask or whatever, but it's really not doing much more than just having nothing on your face. Yes, okay, so mask use. I know we're almost a year into this, so I'm sure you guys already know all this stuff, but I'll just go over it again. So how to put it on. Of course, we want to wash our hands before we're touching our face and our masks, because we don't want bacteria on our hands to be translating onto those things. We want to make sure that the mask is covering our mouth and our nose. We want to loop it behind our ears, and we want to make sure that it's fitting our faces snugly with no huge gaps on the sides or under our chin. So we want to pull it under our chin all the way down. How to remove our mask? Well, we're going to touch behind the ear loops, pull it around, and throw it out. So a good tip here is only try and touch those ear loops. Try not to touch the front of the mask. That's the part that's stopping all the bacteria. So of course it's going to be covered in bacteria. So we're touching that, it can transfer to our hands. Fold the corners together and throw away the mask. So how do we store our mask? Well, if it's disposable, we just throw it in the garbage. If it's a reusable one and it's wet, so it's damp because we've been wearing it for a long time, you can place it in a plastic bag and until it can be washed. And the reason plastic is because the water droplets, the moisture can get on the inside of the plastic, and the plastic is not going to mold, it's not going to decay, it's not going to break down. If we have a reusable mask and it's dry, because we put it on for 2 minutes and that's it, we can place it in a paper bag until it can be washed. If you are removing your mask to eat or drink or things like that, if you're out at a restaurant, what you can do is place it somewhere that's clean. So your pocket, if it's clean, your purse, if you have a clean pocket or pouch in your purse, or another paper bag. I think we have a question.
Yes, Preston, you have your hand up.
Hi, I questioned this. Can you, it's when you have I have this TV, I have a TELUS TELUS something on one channel. It has all these exercise thing. Is okay to do exercise video on your TV if you have that channel?
Sorry, what kind of channel is it for exercise?
It's like 20-minute exercise, like different kind of exercise you can do. Like one is yoga, one is like okay to do on your TV doing that. If you don't watch TV, just doing exercise that way.
Yeah, I think that's a great way. There's a video on the TV you can follow along. I think that's a great idea.
Okay, another thing, I am drinking bubbly drink. Is that okay to drink once a while?
Yes, bubbly is awesome. I love bubbly so much. It's wonderful. You can drink it, I would say, probably as much as you want. It's just water and natural flavoring, no calories, no sugar. The only thing, again, that people might be sensitive to is the carbonation. So, but if carbonation doesn't seem to bother you, then feel free to drink as much as you want.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I think I'm going to power through the last couple of slides, and if you've got questions at the end, I'm happy to stay. Okay, so how to wash your mask? Well, we want to remove it from our face and place in the washing machine, and we can do with other types of laundry to save doing more loads than we need to. And of course, we want to wash it with a regular detergent. And it should say on the mask, if it's from a manufacturer, it should say the washing instructions. So just follow along with that, and you can dry it in the dryer. Another method you can do is just wash it by hand with some laundry detergent, rinse thoroughly, of course. And they say to dry it in sunlight if you can. The COVID-19 bacteria doesn't seem to be able to withstand or survive in sunlight from the rays. So that's a really great tip. You put it in the sunlight if you are able to, and if not, that's okay too. There we go. Okay, last slide here. Okay, so a couple other tips. Never share our masks, of course. We want to wash our hands or use sanitizer after removing our mask. We want to replace or wash our mask after each use or whenever it becomes damp or dirty. So if you have a reusable one and you're putting it on for just 5 minutes to run into, I don't know, Starbucks or something, and you come back, it's probably not too dirty or too damp, so you can wear it again. And don't remove your mask to talk to someone. I see this quite often, at the malls, or if you're outside and people are talking, they remove their mask, and it kind of defeats the purpose of wearing it in the first place. I understand it can be difficult to understand people, and it can be hard for people who are hard of hearing, of course. They can't read lips or anything like that. So I can understand the want to remove it, but I think at this point it is safety first, and we want to make sure that we are not spreading those germs. Okay, and I know, like I said before, you guys have all done this probably 100 times now, but I'm going to quickly demo how to put a mask on. So let's pretend I've washed my hands. I'm not going to go and come back and leave you guys hanging, but let's say I wash my hands. I'm going to hold just the ear loops. Okay, the metal piece should be at our nose so we can bend it to fit better. Okay, so I'm going to cover my nose and my mouth and loop behind my ears. So behind the ears. Okay, I'm going to then take my fingers and pinch the nose down. So adjust it a little bit, pinch it on my nose so it's nice and secure, and then pull down so it's covering all the way down to my chin. Okay, adjust it, and I'm ready to go. Okay, I do my thing, I'm ready to remove it. So we want to just take the, oh, it's caught on my earring. There we go. Okay, just the loops off, fold the corners up, and dispose, and then wash our hands again. And I know you guys have done this a lot. Okay, last, here we go. If you guys want some resources, I can share this slide, or the next slide, this slide and next slide with Caitlin, and she can post this if you guys are interested. So some reliable sources of COVID-19 information, Alberta government websites. I would say some news, not every news station is quality information, some of it's junk. And research articles, seminars by healthcare professionals. There's a lot of research going into COVID-19 right now, and I think that is a really great resource to kind of get a better understanding of what is going on. And I would say unreliable sources, social media. A lot of people just put things out to scare people or frighten people, or fake news. So I would not depend on social media as my first source of information. And family and friends. I know it's tough to say, well, family and friends are reliable, but sometimes they're not. I mean, I'm not saying don't listen to them. I'm just saying be careful, because sometimes people can get false information, or they hear it from someone who heard that from someone who heard that from someone, and it's not really true. It kind of gets lost in translation a little bit. So just be careful of that. But for the most part, I mean, if your parents are watching the news and they're relaying that information to you, probably totally fine. And this is just some resources if you want. Caitlin, I just took these from, I think you gave them to me. So they're just out there in case you want more information about COVID-19. And that is my seminar for tonight, you guys. So I want to thank you so much for coming tonight and listening. I'm sorry we're over time a little bit, but you guys have so many awesome tips for me. And thank you so much for sharing and being so engaged in this seminar. I really appreciate you guys. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'm very happy to stay.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say thanks again, Robyn. That was awesome. And just to follow up with the resources, this recording will be posted to our YouTube channel either tomorrow or in the next few days. So you guys can rewatch it if you want. As well, I'll post our email address in the link. And if you wanted some of those additional resources, you can just email that email and then we can send them to you.
Perfect. And here's the password, you guys. Six swimmers.
And I see we have a couple hands raised. So Danielle, did you want to ask a question?
Yes, I have one question. When you put your mask on, should the blue side be in or out?
Great question.
Really great question. Really great question. The blue side should be out. And that's because, it's folded up now, but it's because it's the way the folds and the creases are done. Let me try and put this back together. I can show you a bit better. So it's just the way these folds are done. And the blue side, they're folded in a way that's going to prevent the bacteria from coming in. And the other side, the white side, it's the opposite way. So it's not going to be able to block the bacteria as well as the front side. I don't know the complete science behind it, but it does have to do with the folding and the pattern of the fold. So blue side out. And you can remember that because you want the blue side to face the blue sky. So blue to blue.
And my second question is, when it's really cold outside, how long should you stay outside for?
Great question. So I think it would depend on how well you're bundled up. So if it's, let's say, like last week, -30, you probably should not be out for too long. It also depends on how much you can tolerate. So if you're dressed really warmly and you have, like, let's say, like a buff on and everything, and you don't feel cold, that's great. But even if you don't feel cold, you don't want to be outside for too long, because it's just not that great to be breathing in that cold of air. It can really, the cold air going into our warm lungs is not going to be that great. So I would limit, like, -30, you can just stay inside. Let's be honest, it's probably just too cold. -20, 10 minutes, -10 to -20, 15 minutes, 0 to -10, probably like 20-25 minutes, things like that. So it just depends on how you feel. And if the minute you're getting cold, head back inside.
Thank you so much. It was
You're
a great
welcome.
presentation.
Thank
Bye.
you very much. I'm very happy you came. Thank you.
I'm Danielle, by the way.
Thank you so much. It's awesome. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much for your questions. That was a really great question. Thank you.
Question. So we have one from Chris. Chris, do you want to ask your question? Okay, we'll come back. I see one from Jessica.
Okay, my question is, if someone allergic to deodorant, what should they do?
Good question. Great question. So luckily, there's lots of different options out there. So if you're allergic to the typical synthetic produced deodorant, definitely stay away from that. I've had bad experience with that too. You kind of get breakouts on your armpits. It can be very painful. So there are different options. So there's more natural ones. I know Sage has ones that are just, it's like a salt stick. So it's just salt, and it's very natural, and it's very good for sensitive skin. Otherwise, there's things like you can go on Pinterest or Google and you can make your own. There are lots of recipes out there for your own deodorant. Very easy to make, minimal ingredients. So I think it's just learning what works best for you and your body. And if you really can't find any solution and you are really sensitive to everything, I would probably talk to your physician and potentially get a referral to a dermatologist, and they can probably help you a bit more.
Okay.
I'll just add to that too, Jessica. Even places like Walmart or Superstore, they also carry organic brands. So there's things like Tom's.
Yeah.
Beaver has one, so that's another option too.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Sorry, I muted myself. Oh, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Robyn.
Thank you so much for your questions. That's awesome. Thank you, Jessica.
More. Cassie.
My question is, especially with this COVID and everything, what happens if you have a family member who has a weaker immune system?
Great question. So I think what we want to do is be very careful. If someone has a compromised immune system, it means they are not able to fight the germs as well or as much as a person who does not have a compromised immune system. So if you are living with someone who is more vulnerable to COVID-19 and the repercussions that it has, I think the best route is just to really be careful and try and stay inside as much as you can. Only go out if it's really necessary for things like groceries. Try not to interact with too many people outside of the home. And things like if you are visiting someone who has a compromised immune system, you can wear a mask around them. If you're living with them, it might be difficult because you might, you're seeing them all the time. So you can try and stay 6 feet away, things like that. So just really monitoring where you are and who you're interacting with, I think is the first major steps that you can take. And I think there should be more information on that sort of thing in those links that I sent. And if not, I'm sure, Caitlin, you can probably find a link that talks about living with someone with an compromised immune system, and you can provide it to the athletes.
Definitely. And Catherine, if you wanted that link as well, you can email our email again, and we can send it to you. So just let us know.
Okay.
Okay. Next I see Laura.
Okay. Hi, can you hear me?
I sure can, Laura.
Okay. I got a few. Okay, I'll go first with when you were I don't smoke, by the way, but back when you were talking about the smoking slide,
Mhm.
yeah, there was one word, the Shiratza or the
Shisha.
yeah, I've never heard of
Yeah.
that. What is that?
So shisha is just essentially it's a way of smoking vape. So it's a mouthpiece that you put your mouth on, and it's a long tube that connects to a larger funnel piece almost, and it bubbles, and there's lots of shisha bars in Calgary and things like that, and people can have a
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it's like that. It's almost like vaping, but in a bigger tube, and it has a long mouthpiece.
Okay, and then my other two are kind of like I don't have a sense of smell and not a big sense of taste. It's just the way I was born. So like let me think here. For health wise, like how do you keep yourself I don't know, like smelling good, or like is man's deodorant better than women's deodorant?
Good question. So I'm sorry to hear that you don't have a great sense of smell. So I bet that makes it challenging.
Yes.
But I think things like just, setting up a routine will be really great. So showering once a day, whether that's in the morning or at bed or whatever time of day. So just having that routine in the morning, putting on deodorant or perfume to make you feel good. Things like that. And if you probably would know if you're sweating. So,
sometimes yes and sometimes no.
Okay. So if you can't, smell, check to see if you're sweating, you can probably, feel it if your t-shirt is damp or things like that. But I think
a little bit.
Yeah, I think the best thing is probably just having a routine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just, making sure you're showering and putting body lotion or body spray on or whatever. And then to get to your question about deodorant, is men's deodorant better than women's? I don't know if I would say it's better. I know it's probably a more stronger smell.
What's the difference between the two?
Basically the difference is just marketing, and the pictures and the labels on the product. The product itself is probably very similar apart from the scents. So brands just try to market different types of scents to different types of people. So that's the major difference. And if you want to wear men's deodorant, that's totally fine. I used to wear the Old Spice deodorant.
Okay.
And then I switched to an all natural deodorant. But I mean, wear whatever deodorant you want. It's all the same. It's just branding and marketing. That's all.
Okay.
Awesome, good question. So we have two more hands up. So we'll answer those ones, and then any additional questions, again, you can email our Peak program email, and then we can do a follow-up answer for you. So, James, what is your question? Okay, we'll come back. Preston, do you have a question?
Yes. I have a fuser, like a first, like for you, like help you sleep. It's like a fuser, like a what was it? Vessel oil. Did you sleep with? like those things you sleep with, the oils, like what's it called? Sensitive oils.
Oh, yes, yes. And then
I
diffuser?
always sometimes every time I put, how much drop should you put in there? Because I always put 5.
You know what? I think that's a great number. And if you look at the back of the essential oil, it should say, put in like, 5 to 10 drops or whatever, depending on your room size. But I think it just depends on how much of that scent you like to smell.
Because yeah, I remember
I typically, sorry, go ahead.
I was last time I did put 6 in, and I have a headache every time if I put too much in, I get a headache from it.
Yeah. So I think it's just figuring out what works best for you. And if you get too much, you get a headache with 6, maybe cut back to 4, see how you feel then. I typically put between 4 or 5 myself.
If you were allergic to cologne, like I'm not allergic to cologne. If you were allergic to cologne, if someone your family was allergic to cologne, they can't stand the smell. Does that mean you don't put it on that day?
Yeah, I mean, I think lots of people have sensitivities to perfumes and cologne. And I think it just comes down to courtesy. If someone you're living with is very sensitive to that, maybe skip it and try a different scent, or don't put as much on. Another tip, if you don't want to have too much on yourself, you can spray it in front of you and then walk through it. And that's a really great way to not get as much of the product on your clothes. So you're not smelling as strongly as if you were to just walk through it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Preston.
Okay, one more time, James. Do you have a question? See your hands up.
Myself, I have a question.
Hi.
Is hummus okay to eat every day?
Yes, I think hummus is a great option. It's made typically with chickpeas, which are full of fiber and protein. So hummus is typically a really great source of both of those things. The thing you need to watch out for is added ingredients. So a lot of hummus, they put a lot of things like oil in them, and things like sugar, salt. So if you just look at the food label and make sure that it's not, too much, just watch out for, I would say, artificial or extra ingredients that are not necessarily needed. But in general, yes, hummus is totally okay and a great way to get some fiber and protein. So it's a great choice.
Thanks for your time, Robyn.
You're welcome, James. Great question.
Anytime.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Again, if you have any additional questions, you're free to email. It's peakprogram@specialolympics.ab.ca. I think it's probably on the Facebook page somewhere. But yeah, and then our next session, we're going to be talking about how we can take everything that we talked about today and make tangible goals. So how do we set goals to stay healthy and make these healthy habits? So looking forward to that. And I hope that everyone has a great evening.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It's so lovely to see your faces and hear your voices. And I hope you guys are all doing super well and making the most of this crazy situation that we're all in. But thank you so much for taking the time and joining me tonight and listening to my talk. Thank you, guys.